Hi, my name's Jason. You are watching a video from NJPW1 as the number plate suggests. In this video I'm going to install some lower rear adjustable control arms into this HZJ80. And I already have upper adjustable control arms in the top, in the rear. And I'm not happy the way the pinion sits or the compression curve of the spring is. So in this video I am going to attempt to rectify that. Alright, to explain pinion angles very briefly, I've drawn up this little sketch, and if you imagine this is a transfer case, this is the rear differential. Alright, what we're trying to achieve is this distance between here and here to equal the same as this distance between this flange and this flange. Very basic. Now, that's what you're trying to achieve when you're putting adjustable control arms in a lifted vehicle or anything like that. And what you'll be trying to achieve, that is what you're trying to achieve, all right? So if not done, and this is an exaggerated one, you know, again, transfer, rear diff. So as a vehicle is lifted, the front of the pinion is facing up. That's generally what, that's what's happening. And so those distances here and here will not be the same because these this flange now you can see is off level. Or it's not square, it doesn't run true with this one. So what happens is where the uni joints, these little asterisks here, these are the uni joints. This here is the yoke. And that's your pinion seal, that's your output shaft in the transfer is the seal and the bearing, and this one's is highlighting the pinion seal and bearing in the rear diff. Now, if these are out of square, they're not running true, it will vibrate, and you may feel this, and you also may not feel it. So what's happening here is you will get wear in the yoke. Your uni joints will prematurely wear out, and you are damaging the seal and a little bit on the transfer case you are damaging. Mostly you will destroy the pinion seal in the rear diff. So if you've got a lifted vehicle and you're wondering, I'm always doing rear pinion seals, this is very likely the reason. And that seal and that bearing will prematurely wear out. So to adjust it, you're taking it back to this position where these uni joints, because they're running square, these flanges are running true, and it's balanced in this manner, the shaft is balanced to this manner, they will run happily, and they will last so much longer. So will your yoke and your pinion seal and bearing and your transfer case seal and bearing. This will all be much better. I hope that kind of explains it for you. I hope it makes some sense. The first job to do is to remove the rear drive shaft. Good thing about working on a car like this with a good lift is it's fairly easy to work on, which is definitely to my advantage. And I've only got a dirt floor to work on. Well, not dirt, it's got carpet down. No concrete floor, that's definitely a luxury, not something I have. Crackle these a bit. All the nuts and washers back on. Otherwise you'll most likely lose them. I always think, I'll never lose them, that'll never happen. And then I'll lose it, and I'm like, oh, okay. Learn this the hard way, right? All right. So the next step is to remove one of these lower control arms, which I'm so not excited to do, but anyway, it's an easy enough job. It's not hard. See if that works now. Dash back. And again, putting the bolt side, don't pull the bolt out. This one goes in, goes up. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, right? Certainly easier. I don't know, for some reason when I'm under a car I tend to forget which way is which, and I've got to twist my wrist to remember. There we go. It's doing a great job. Good boy. Oh, yeah, you know, I've had these out recently, or a year or so ago, so not too bad. Oh, a lot of bashes and dings and dents. Half the reason for replacing these arms is some of them are were bent. These ones aren't. All right, now doing this on, let's not run ahead of yourself, Jason. All right, now doing this on a bench will make life a little easier. And because you're going to be putting this new adjustable control arm in the same position as this to start with before adjusting, I'll put the bolts in through the bottom. And when that's done, I'll then put that on there. We'll see that won't reach. So what you have to do is adjust them to suit, which may be a little bit, may take a little while. A little bit of twerking and adjusting. And that's a little bit firm on there. I can feel that's not quite right. I'll go another one and do another half a turn. Now line it up. Get down nice and low. I reckon it needs to go another half turn. That's looking pretty cool, isn't it? Because if I go half a turn more, which is this what you should do, go half a turn more and see if it's over centering or slightly, a little bit. Bang. Yep, absolutely is. So then you'll go half one back in. And when that's done, I suggest you grab the other one and do exactly the same to this one, because this one's not bent, it looks in great shape. So I'll match it to this one before even getting the other one out. And would you believe it? These suckers are heavy. They're quite heavy. And undo him. So they're roughly the same. Getting roughly close. Roughly close. And then testing it on there. And how does that look? It felt nice going on. Felt unobstructed. So we can basically, I feel fairly comfortable with that. But again, I'll do the same process. And I'll go half a turn more. Half a turn more. And how does that look? Not bad. One might be a little bit long. And maybe that's better. So put them on there to check. Try to get them exactly. You know, it was. That is half a turn too long. So go back in. This is really how you doing what way to do it. You could measure it and make it look really spot on. Or you can just look down the holes. That's probably a whole lot easier actually. Why no, I didn't do this? Retard. Right. Slightly stiff. Fit. Nope, that is perfect. Is that so spot on? Right. One of those suckers is now ready to go in. Right, so with the ridge, this plate is facing up. I assume that's where it's supposed to go. Might be told, no, you idiot, you're doing it wrong. And the thread's up this end, so further away from the low points. Yeah. Alrighty. Now that's in. I'm going to repeat the other side. Did I preempt this? No, not really. Just wing it, as you do. Oh, there we go. I think the whole bolt probably turned though, didn't you? Did the whole bolt just turn? Probably. I'm like, where's that spanner? I've got it on the nut. Yeah, woohoo! You don't need to jack anything up in this. It's fairly simple to do, really. Not much that can move here. Are you being annoying? Alright, this one's being annoying, so unfortunately it's going to get a little bit from the knocker meter. There we go. Don't hit it hard, you don't have to. Generally. Not always. I'm glad I inox, spray some rust protectant under the car on a regular basis. Makes jobs like this so much easier. Yes. Same as the other side. You're in. You're ready. Mr. Williams, this is ready to begin some adjusting. The curvature of the spring is relatively important. You don't want a spring completely bowed like that. That's a little bit like that, not much. But you want a compression curve in the spring to an extent. You want a small amount. Because if you're going to imagine a angle like this that adjusts there, you've got these two flats that as they're closer together, they're more parallel. But as the gap increases, it's more acute. So if you're trying to get the pinion angle right, that angle is going to be pretty close to parallel once you get it correct at ride height. So while it's on the ground. So what we're trying to achieve is the correct pinion angle, and those we have to maintain these so you got that slight compression curve in the spring. You don't want too much, and so we run the risk of correcting the pinion angle is if I've done that and I try to correct the pinion angle no matter which way, you'll actually bend the spring out of center. So you'll have the top running not only on a different angle, but in a different parallel below it. It's a little bit tricky to describe, but hopefully this all makes sense as this video develops. Hopefully. Right. Let's go half a turn and see what we can manage. We want to lengthen this. Lengthening half a turn, right? Lengthen this half a turn. That's better. Alright, lengthen this side. Now to measure the distance again. Alright, not on the bolt. Please. 12:06 just about. Almost 12:06. I'm going to go half again for that turn because we're getting really close.
Let's make it happen, shall we? Bring it back position, please. Alright. Half turn out. Moving by half turn. And we need the lever to maneuver it slightly. Possibly. And then let go. Oops.
Well, I'm measuring from the bottom, outside of the flange, just because it's easier. Don't get up on a washer or anything of those, or up on the head of a bolt. Not that it's really one there anyway, but it's good to at least pretend. Almost 12:08 there. Almost 12:08. What do we have here? 12:08? Gosh, that looks cool. Looks way better. And 12:08. Whoa, who would have thought? Right, make sure the edge of that tape's not riding up to, sit in front and give me a wrong reading. 5, 6, 7, 12:07. Almost 12:08. Almost, but not quite. You know what? I'm going to go half longer again. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Absolutely. Well, but I'm going half one longer anyway. Just because I'd love to see it perfect. That would just so friggin' cool, wouldn't it?
Actually doing some decent amount of adjusting. So, that down. And we're going half a turn longer again. Half a turn longer.
Alright, let's measure it again. Since we are getting seemingly more successful. Yeah, 12:08. On the dot, pretty much. 12:08. Make sure they're not riding up my washer. No, I can see it's not. That's running. Any slack in there? 12:08. Almost exactly. It is basically exactly same. And I've had it for just a amount longer, which is great news. Alright. Now comes to anti-seize the bolts and do it all up. And then I have to wait to get the new drive shaft in. Which, thinking of that, the question to be asked is, what is the length that you want your new drive shaft running at standard position is? Wow. Can you read that for me, please? What are you talking to? There's no one here, dumbass. Eyes are a little bit blurry. Maybe it's because you haven't had breakfast yet. My arms are not long enough. I've got to think of a better way than this. Haha! This is something I prepared earlier. Nah. These things are so cool. Close enough to the bottom of the diff. Oh, mate! You couldn't read about this. Yeah, it's roughly there. So it's 1193. 1193. Remember that. Lucky I videoed it, because I will forget. I'll just be able to check the video and go, yes, it was 1193. Well done.
Not that much on paper entire bulb.
Fortunately, because I regularly coat the underneath of the car with inox. There's lots of other products you can use, but it's something I started using up north in the mining industry probably 10-12 years ago, and I've really like it. So that washer and nut. It's a bolt with one washer and one nut. Oh.
Next one.
washer, and a nut. You always want to coat these bolts wherever you can, anything, especially under the car, so you can get them undone again one day. Because you know these arms could sit in here for many years, and then you're going to need to get them out. And if they, for some reason, are really stiff, really stuck, it's going to suck getting them out. Get them out. Be friendly. Be friendly. There you go. You just want to fall out on me though, don't ya? Oh, bang. Smack in the head. Oh, so painful.
So dramatic. Alright.
A bit of grease. I mean, anti-seize. Grease will work as well. You know, if you don't have this, you can use anti-seize. I mean, you can use grease. There you go. Just all depends on your background, doesn't it? You know, if you're used to using anti-seize, then use it. You're used to using grease and you've always used grease, then use grease. That's fine. This handles a little bit better than grease, like hangs in for a bit longer with a bit of being under the car and exposed to the elements, but in reality, there's not that big a difference. This one's a whole lot easier to get to. I can tell by the sound of it. It sounded really good. I like the sound of that. It was nice and tight. Yep. Tighter than I can do it. There we go. Happy. Now you need to do the lock nuts up on these. Which is not that hard. I don't like exposing these threads. I might get some Denso tape at some stage and cover these up. Big 41mm spanner. Make it seem nice. I'm not gonna like crank them tight just yet. I have to get them just firm. And the problem with this is I'm going to warp the bush, like as in it's going to flex the bush as you adjust it, or as you try to tighten it, it's flexing the bush, which is taking a lot of the your strength out of it. These don't have to be ridiculously tight like I did that, because they're only a small kind of, you know, yes they're big bolt, but they've got not massive surface area, so I won't overdo them stupidly. Alright, here goes. Feels good. Right, bring that one up to it. This sucker's going to lock him in. Done. I think we're done under here. I think this is it. Yeah. No, what else is there to do under here? To be continued. Well, hopefully, like it'll just be. I'll just get the shaft and then record it. Me putting it in and be like, "Bam! It was all there in one day." Yeah, maybe not. And bam! Just like that. Wow! I now have a drive shaft. Right, when doing this, you've probably extended the length of the drive shaft, so you may need to have it engineered. I've lengthened mine by 25mm, 1 inch, and because you'll be running on a different position of the yoke, and so if it's further away, then you have to correct. You know, it's well worthwhile correcting it. You're probably going to need to put new uni joints in it anyway. And what I'm going to show you here is I'm just going to drop this in. So attach a grease gun on here, and bring that around where I can reach it happily. Hopefully this works. I might tighten the little doobie up so I can get it tight on the grease nipple. What you want to do is you basically, you don't want to, you want to prime the yoke slightly, and you don't want pressure on the pinion or the transfer through the yoke. You don't have to do this. This is not necessary. I just do it because I'm incredibly fussy. And it doesn't have to be tight. You don't want it to be tight. Just as long as it's sort of there, and then that's it. Just do your bolts up and job done. Don't go over tight on these. They are very high tensile, but a stretch bolt is not a happy bolt. There we go. And job done. That should do the trick. Alright, the tools used for this job is a light 14mm spanner, 14mm combination spanner, some anti-seize, rattle gun with a 24mm impact socket, quick grip clamp, podgy bar or pry bar, tape measure, hammer, 41mm combination spanner, 24mm combination spanner, a shifter and a ruler, and the tool holding the tools. Me, right? Awesome. Hopefully this is good.